Hello, welcome to Five Sisters Cafe. I'm Jenny.
I'm Eileen.
I'm Karen.
I'm Pam.
I'm Adrian.
And
Today we're going to talk about learning styles, educating our children as they get older and figuring out learning styles for each child.
Which works the best.
Yeah.
Right, because obviously not all children are going to fit into that mainstream way of being educated. And sometimes, and it will most likely, become very stressful and difficult on the family, the household, the child,
Right.
Yes.
if your child just doesn't fit right in that program.
Yes, homework will get very
Oh.
strained.
Mhm.
We've had homework
Yeah.
history.
It also brings their self-esteem down. It just
Well,
deflates
if they're not
everything.
natural homework doers.
If they're not natural.
If
born
they don't
doers.
understand what they're trying to learn either.
Mhm.
Right.
Right. Or if they don't necessarily agree with what they're trying to learn. And if they're in the public school system, to be able to give them the freedom to learn a topic on their own, but then have to obey what the teacher wants to.
Yes.
And as a, how do you say it, in society always has a line that they need you to
Right.
follow
Right.
in order to cope. And so you, as best as you can, where they need to, train them that way, but also train them so that they can have the freedom to be bigger.
Explore.
Be bigger and,
Yeah, yeah.
and explore than just what
Mhm.
society tells them.
And learn how to educate themselves.
Yeah.
But part of the thing, I know between the 16 kids, we've all had to find a way of educating our kids that was a little different. And not with all of them. Some of mine, some of my 6, I just put them in the public school, and me being attentive and aware
Right,
and staying
right.
on top of things,
Yeah.
they did fabulous.
Mhm.
A couple of them needed very specialized education. Sometimes it is a matter of pulling the child out and homeschooling maybe for a year or 2.
Mhm.
In my case, it was finding a private school that would give my child one-on-one, which is
Right.
what he needed at
Mhm.
the time.
Right. And that's what, it really is a year by year. How
Yeah.
is your child going
Right.
to deal with this year? What are they going through this year or this scenario? And so every year, and that's why you really have to stay involved
Right.
every year, no matter what
My
the
kids
year.
are only 1 year apart, and they both went to different junior highs.
Right.
One was in a community school, which is within the public school, but it was a very small junior high. There was only 90 kids in the whole junior high.
Very small.
Yeah. Well, my oldest son went to a regular junior high with, gosh,
5, 6, 7,
400, I think, 500.
Yeah.
That's a big one. And he did okay. We had to work through a lot of things there, but my daughter, who's younger and went to the community school junior high, did fabulous. And then they both eased into the high school at their own pace, and I just realized through that junior high critical time,
Right.
it was so important to to put them where they needed to be,
Right.
not just go with whatever
Right.
program is out there.
Right.
Right.
They're not all. One of my boys is very a right brain thinker, very creative.
We'll say right.
And the minute he'd sit down at his desk, he would get sleepy.
Mm.
The very second we'd start to do homework at night, he would get sleepy.
Cranky, tired.
Anything where he had to sit and focus, he started to yawn, and he started to really try, but he just
Yeah, he's a
get
very physical learner.
So yes, I had to homeschool him. In fact, I ended up homeschooling all 3 kids. My daughter in junior high had a bully,
Ooh,
and
yeah.
so we went through the year, and it was very, very difficult. But
Yeah.
but we got through the year, and it was lots and lots of tears. It was very hard for her to focus because of the bully. But like Jenny was saying, you have to be attentive
Right.
to each child's learning styles and capabilities, and then try to meet them there.
Well, and
Right.
I don't necessarily think that it all has to do with the learning styles. I think a lot of it is the situations
A bad fit
that
for
happens.
Yes.
Right.
when
And
Like
that's
you
why
had
you have
that
to stay-
bully at
Yes,
your
and
area.
teachers even. Teachers
Yeah.
can get into doing that. and it's
Ooh.
picking favorites, and your
Yes.
child's not the favorite.
Yeah,
And
and again,
and
you
it
have
can-
to stay on it.
yes, you have to. If it doesn't work out, it's not worth trying to butt heads with. It's just easier just to find another solution.
I did have to deal with that with my son's junior high. I had to go to the teacher every time I'd come back with a test. I had to go to the teacher and talk to him about why this happened, and then he would eventually raise the grade. After talking to me, he'd raise the grade. And it blew my mind, but it turned out that the teacher just, my son, he just didn't like him that
Just
much.
didn't mesh. That is,
Just
that's-
didn't work.
Yep.
yeah.
The
Yep.
personalities did not go together well, and so he just didn't want to give him an A, doggone it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So
There's
I
that.
ended up in third grade. My son was. I just butted heads all the time with
With
the
the
teacher,
Mhm.
and the situation and everything. So I just ended up pulling him out a month into third grade, and putting him in part time where he didn't have to deal with the teacher. He went to computer and recess and all that, but he didn't deal with the teacher, and that was a lot better. Then and then I just kept him in part time, whatever part time worked, however long the day worked for each grade until sixth grade, and then I put him in a whole other program,
Mm-hmm.
and that worked a lot better for him.
Good.
Right. There
Yeah.
are a lot of options out there for parents, and a lot of parents think there's just public and there's just private. There's
Mhm.
public or
Right.
private.
Right.
But there
Lot
are
of
really
options.
a lot of options in
These
Washington
days,
State.
yeah.
Yes.
These days are really
So,
are.
yeah.
And I'm always worried about being a difficult mom.
Yes.
Right.
I'm not the teacher.
Right.
I don't have to deal with 30 kids every day. There's
Right.
that. But this is my child that
Right.
I'm
Right.
responsible for.
Right.
So I have to do what I can.
The bottom line is
Yeah.
every child, no matter what program they're in, they need an advocate.
Right.
Right.
Yes.
And
Right.
so-
And the parent is the best advocate.
And
That's
that's-
yeah, that's right.
And don't
right.
think that you don't know what's going on, because it doesn't take much but talking to your child to know what's going on
Yeah.
in their view, and then you can check it out.
Right.
Right.
And don't take
Their
this.
view is important.
Yeah,
Yeah.
don't take everybody else's view above and beyond what your child is saying.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Open
Tell me,
communication is always
Yes.
good. Keep the
Yeah.
dialogue open
Right.
Yeah.
and keep everything as positive and as you can, but
Mm-hmm.
there is going to be those instances where you really have to do something different with your
Right.
child. And there are a lot of options. And maybe just short term, maybe just
Right. Just-
a year, maybe 2
Right.
years.
Right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And
that's
back
what-
into the regular school.
Yeah, it seems like all of us, if at some, I don't know, well, with my older ones, then I homeschooled for 1 year, only because we were in a school district that just wasn't the greatest, and they were above the grade level, and the teacher just wanted to keep them at the second
Yeah.
grade level, and,
They just didn't
They
want to
were-
let them
yeah,
go
it was
where they
really
can go.
yeah.
I
It's
never
really
homeschooled,
great though
but-
that we're in a state that can
Yes.
allow you to
To have the
homeschool. Because
flexibility.
I
Mhm.
remember when I started
Right.
homeschooling the kids, it was real dicey. It had only just been okay to
Right.
homeschool your kids.
A lot of material out there.
But a working parent, 5 days a week,
Oh yeah.
needs to understand there are more options. They don't have to send the child into a horrible situation. If
Right.
there's something going on in the public schools
Right.
Mm-hmm.
that their child is the recipient of, and they're trying to they're feeling terrible about it, and
Right.
they're maybe telling mom or dad,
Mm-hmm.
there's options. The parent has to look around and especially go talk to the teacher.
You know, actually, even now, there's, in addition to homeschooling, there's homeschool groups.
Yeah, there are.
And I know a full-time working mom who is sending her 2 kids to homeschool group.
And she
Yeah.
works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it's not entirely impossible. She does her part in evenings
Right.
with the other kids, with the group kids.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Yeah, and
there's
they work
things you
with
can
parents
do.
who have talents that,
Right.
Right.
so
Right.
if someone is really good at math and your kid is in,
There's a lot of
You can
those,
send them-
and they're
Yeah.
more and more, and it's because the parents are wanting those options.
right.
Well, and you
They're
can
out
look on the Washington Homeschool Organization and see
What
online
those
and
kinds
see,
of schools.
yeah,
for
see
working,
what's out there, or even in the public schools, and see what kind of alternatives they have.
Yeah.
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 Because there's a lot of different alternatives
Yeah.
out there.
And a lot of different private schools too that help you with different scholarships and, you know.
And now
Like in
Washington
private
even
schools.
has online homeschooling,
Mhm.
where you can just do your high school online.
Yeah, that's getting more and more popular. I see commercials for it on TV.
Yeah.
Online high schooling.
So it's Insight is the name